I'm Tanya Fox, and you're listening to Fox Talks Business Podcast. I started my career in the corporate world, but always played to my own tune and loved to think outside of the box. This didn't always serve me well with the bosses, so I made the decision to become an entrepreneur. And that little seed of entrepreneurial curiosity continued to grow as I branched out into retail, service, and franchise businesses. Now, I have been fortunate to have amazing successes in the last 2 decades, but they did not come without some really big failures and even bigger lessons learned. And that's why I started this podcast, not just to share the failures, but to show you how you can turn every failure into a success. We're going to hear from some amazing humans from around the world that are going to share their stories of the good, the bad, and the motivational entrepreneurial life has to offer. After all, life is too short to make all of the mistakes yourself, so why not learn from each other? And of course, we're going to have some fun, because as I always say, well, you know what? I'll tell you that at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm really excited to learn more about your background.
Thank you for having me here. Thanks for inviting me. Well, if I can start from the very beginning of the whole story, I have to say that I have the privilege, maybe like 10 years ago, I have the privilege to find my partner, the current partner that we're working together now. And he's a bit older than me, so I had the chance to work with him, to cooperate, to work a lot of stuff, and to see how they're happening in the world of digital marketing, for example, and business consulting also. Right before that, I was in the software area, in the IT, and then I moved my focus more to the business side of the things, like entrepreneurship and things like that. And we started working together, like consulting businesses. For example, some business has some difficulties. He's signing up for a consultation. He's coming into the office. We make the consultation. Different approaches, of course, we involve here. Like first of all, he's describing about what the problem is, how he's running the business, where he suffer, what it's okay, what he wants to improve, and things like that. Then we do all the analytics stuff. For example, if he has some marketing campaigns, we gather the data from there, from the, let's say, Google Ads, for example. We get the data, we do analysis on that, and after that we spot some problems and we propose some solutions. Of course, we try several solutions for one single problem, because sometimes it's not working. You have to change the approach and to see the problem in a different perspective. And yeah, that's the business consulting. Apart from that, we have a marketing agency which is doing the marketing campaigns for those clients. And then at some point one day we decided to create something different. And Monopoly, actually today, nowadays we have 2 games which are business related, business oriented. And those are, the first one is Monopoly, which is, I believe, 42 or 3 years old. And then we have the cash flow of Kiyosaki. And then this is around 20 years old. So we thought, and then we decided, okay, we want to do something really new, something really entertaining the people, but not only entertaining, something that is going to give them additional value, because those are financial games. And when you play them, then it's easy. You lose money, you put the stuff back in the box, and everything is fine. But in real life, it's not like that. And we wanted to give that additional value, because people, first of all, they love to play. We have several factors here. We were able to create that game digital, but we didn't want to, because we want the social factor to get those people together, to sit on the table, drink, laugh, play, emotions to be involved. And the second one is to give them that additional value, that they can teach them, they can learn something. Of course, some of them, they can teach something because they have skills, especially like entrepreneur guys. But yeah, they can teach, they can learn there, and it's much better to learn some lessons there on the game instead of in real life, because in real life that costs money, that costs relationships, that costs time and sleepless nights. And then we decided, yeah, to create that game. We started very naive, to put it that way. We thought, and we figured it out that there's no magnetic board game like that. Yeah, magnetic board games in different segments, of course, we have it, but in that business sector, no. So we wanted to do that. Apart from giving the additional benefit to learn something, we wanted to give that experience, that user experience that you cannot have it in a real in a normal board game. We have some kind of game here, and I remember when I was a kid playing that board game at home with my parents and my friends, and then at some point was someone is throwing the dice, and everything is like blown away. And yeah, and everybody was, no, that was not my position, I was there. Everybody's trying to cheat, and that was annoying a bit. Of course I tried to cheat as well. Yeah, and we wanted to prevent that. That's why we decided to create it magnetic. In the beginning, we did it with a magnetic foil that wasn't attracting the other part of the magnet hard enough. That wasn't a working solution. Then we tried magnetic dust. That wasn't working at all. So at the end, we found out the solution to have a magnet inside the game and having a magnet outside the game. So they click minus the plus. Yeah, more than 3 years we were creating the game, and now it's a reality. We have two versions. The first is the magnetic one, and the second one is for their users who doesn't want to be a magnetic. It's not so important for them, so we decided we want to provide that as well. Yeah.
So while you were in the creation of this, because a lot of people think, oh, well, like a product, I mean, you just have an idea, you create it, and there you go. Talk a little bit about, because I mean, 3 years is a long time to create something. So what are some of the things, like, what are some of the obstacles that you came up against while you were, in this 3 years creation?
Oh, yeah, I got it. A lot of obstacles. First of all, like I mentioned, the magnetic stuff, that was an obstacle. Second one, it's just time consuming, because when just someone have a look at some product and say, oh, that's just a board game, just a box, a carton box with some stuff inside. Yeah, okay, but you have to figure it out. You have to design it. You have to do all the stuff around it. Yeah, magnetic field is the first one. Then we wanted the quality to be good. The board itself, we changed, I think, more than seven materials to make it really durable, and we wanted the game to be able to be used a lot of times, not just several times and then to be cut it off. In the beginning, it was a foldable game like this. Okay. But that's not good, because when you fold it several times, then you have two pieces, not one. Yeah, and now the board is like a puzzle from 4 big pieces, and they click like a puzzle, and you put it together. Of course, the knives on the machine has to cut only on places where you don't have magnets, because when you cut on the magnets, you break the knife. So you have again and again and again. That's a lot of time. Then we had obstacles with the box. The box was not good enough. It was not solid enough. There's a lot of different materials in the game, like magnets, plastic, paper, different materials. Yeah. Manufacturing was also a problem, because not a lot of companies can produce that. For example, we have distributed manufacturing, because we cut the magnets. They're cut on laser, with a laser. So you can't cut it just some kind of machine. It should be very precise. We cut the magnets with lasers, then they provide it to us. In additional manufacturing company, we assemble the game, we put the game together. Then we have another company which is printing the game. Then we have another company which is like the distribution center, where we put all the games, and when we have an order, they're carrying for the shipment. things like that. Yeah. Also marketing campaigns. We're running Facebook, Google, Instagram. Those are it's just time consuming.
Well, and like you were saying, with multiple manufacturers having to deal with keeping the quality that you want, there's a lot of moving pieces that end up happening in
Yeah.
that then.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of pieces. You have to organize everything. You have to organize every process because let's say you have 5 different companies that are you're working with, and they're producing some kind of materials for you, and it's needed only one to be not with the good quality, and then you can't sell the game. I mean, I won't sell the game to anyone. I don't want to do that because you don't you're like you're saying, okay, that's the game, that's the quality, and then you send something different. That's not good. And we're constantly going there to visit and to inspect the quality. When we receive the game, we open on a random principle, and we open some of the games to check the quality. And if something is not good, of course we had that cases, then we uh we forward the game, all the stuff back, and we reply them, and yeah, they have to fix it. Of course
Yeah.
that costs time is money. Clients are waiting. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to like even before you created the game, what made you think of becoming an entrepreneur? Because in Bulgaria, when you were younger, there wasn't a lot of, you tell in your story about how there being like no internet and mobile phones. And so what sort of started you on that path to sort of say, I think I want to do this. I think I want to go into business for myself.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I'm a bit younger, and I remember in my childhood, we had phones and TVs. TVs were black and white. Yeah, but yeah, of course, I was working for some companies for a long time, for a long period, and then at some point, I don't see any reason to work for anyone else instead of doing it for myself. Freedom is the first thing, and the feeling after you complete something and after you finish that, it's just totally different. And that's not for everyone, of course. If you decide to have that calm feeling at home when you come back from work, that's fine. But if you're passionate about some idea, like, because business is what is business? Business is just finding. I did. I can put the words like that. The business is two things: find the problem and make a solution for it. If you make a good solution, then everything is that. You have the business. You don't need. Usually, we don't start a business with okay, I'll have a business now. Let's decide what kind of a business I have. And that's the same thing. It was like with the game. The game is just thing that wrapping up the whole idea of showing the entrepreneurship magic, entrepreneurial magic to all of the people, because I think there is a misunderstanding and it's widespread across the world, because entrepreneurship, now everybody's entrepreneurial. That's fine, but that it's just misunderstood, because that it's hard. It's a mess. You need to sacrifice a lot of time and a lot of efforts. Nowadays we're developing like very fast, and you have to catch up, learning new stuff that you need on a daily basis. You have to cut your go walks outside, for example. You have to work extra hours. You have to put extra hard efforts. And we wanted to show that the entrepreneurship is actually achievable. People should not afraid of it, and it's much better to make mistakes on the game instead of real life.
Well, and that's what I like the concept about this game is that it doesn't sort of cover over those hardships that happen in business, because you're right. There's a lot of times that people think, well, business is really easy, right? Like, I mean, how hard can it be? Not understanding, like you had mentioned, not understanding the sacrifices that you put in and all the stuff that you have to think of, that in a regular job, you don't really need to think of all of those things. But as an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, you have to think of everything.
absolutely. And that's why, for example, we have different different sides of the games. For example, we have employees, so you have to take care of those. You can run a business without, but it's not so profitable. If you want a business with employees, that then you need to pay for them. Of course, first quality employees, which is the lowest one, they're cheaper, and top quality employees are much more expensive. So we developed the game in that way that it should be the maximum close to the real life. Yeah, it's a game, but we want to represent the real life, because those are the true stuff. You can get a loan against your business, for example, for one of your businesses, and you have to pay the bank back. So everything is exactly as it happens in real life.
And so when you decided to create this game, obviously you had people, entrepreneurs in mind to play it. But what do you hope that when people get this game, what do you hope is the main thing that they take away from playing it?
Enjoying, first thing, having fun with their friends, their family, their company, and second thing is to learn something, to learn that running a business, yeah, you can see it's easy, and also you can see it's not easy, and that's true. Like the biggest misconception is the biggest lie in life is that people, we have time, and bigger than that lies we don't have time. So yeah, both of them are true. So we want to give a good experience to the people, and also to learn something, have their time great. Yeah.
So if people are interested in learning more about the game, and as well you have, books, I mean, you have a lot of stuff that's kind of going on. Where's the best place for them to go to find some more information and the game as well?
First, they can visit the website, which is ulead.bg/n. So for English, and they can check everything there, the business literature that we have, the game, how they can work together with us. They can check there. Of course, we're on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn as well. So they can check there, yeah.
So just before we go, if there's somebody who's out there who has an idea in their head about manufacturing some type of product, what would be a piece of advice that you would give them, thinking back to the experience you had trying to create, this game in specific?
Well, maybe my advice will be always check the quality, and don't underestimate any detail, because sometimes you say, okay, that should be super easy, I can do it for a day or two, or even for a week, and then no. It's a totally different story. So you're just starting digging more and more and more, and you see that you're not familiar at all. So always check twice, and even 3 times.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for spending some time to talk to us about your great creation. We'll make sure that we provide all of the links where everybody can find the game, as well as the website and your social media. And I really appreciate you taking time, and I'm excited to get the game and to see if I can take over.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, because it's a lot of in the beginning, there was a lot of luck in the game, so it was not good. So then we started thinking, and we decided, okay, we're going to invite the professional board game players, so they can see what's going on, and what's good and bad. And then we had more than 70 changes in the game just to do the math, and we didn't want some much luck. So we gave the decisions to the people, to the players. So now, because there are a lot of free sectors where you buy franchise businesses and you put the branches on them, and then at the end of the game, when there's no empty fields, then you see that a lot of businesses are still not bought there in the game manager. So every time you play, you have the decisions where to put the businesses and what business to buy or not to buy. So every single time when you play the game, it's not a static game, it's very dynamic games. It's every time different, and there's no single strategy you can put, and that will make your winner every time. No, it should be different, because those are the competitors against
Well,
you.
and that's more realistic in life, right? Just because
Yep.
somebody else did it that way, and I think it's good because you could try different things, right? You could play the game and you can change your strategy and say, okay, well, let me try this and see if this will work this time.
Yeah.
With a little with a lot less real life
Yeah,
investment.
absolutely.
It's a little harder to do that in real life.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you again for your time. And I look forward to staying connected and hearing more about the stuff that you create, because I'm sure that's going to keep
Thanks.
going.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Thank you.
To learn more details about the game, as well as some videos on gameplay, head over to our website at foxtalksbusiness.ca. Click on blogs on the left-hand side of the page. You will see this episode and all of the links where you can connect not only to purchase the game, but to connect a little bit more with Anton and everything that he's doing. Next week, I'm really excited to bring you Sean Tyler Foley. Now, some of you might recognize his name. He's a fellow Canadian, fellow Albertan. He did a lot of acting in film and television, and we talk a lot about his story going back to when he was 6 years old. It's really, really interesting. He's been in such productions as Freddy vs. Jason, Door to Door, Carrie. He was in the musical Ragtime. Now he's really passionate about helping others confidently take the stage and impact an audience with their stories. He's currently the managing director of The Total Buy-In and the author of the #1 best-selling book, The Power to Speak Naked. So don't forget to tune in next week when I will sit down with Tyler to talk about all of the things, both acting and stage. So no matter what you're doing today, find time to have fun. Because as I always say, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?